Welcome to another Just Traveling Through video. I'm Celeste.
And I'm Terry.
And today we're going to talk about tips for people considering taking a Viking river cruise.
Yeah, they are popular and you should be aware of a few tips we can pass along.
Tip number one is, who are Viking river cruises best suited for?
Those who don't want to spend a lot of time planning a trip.
Yeah, because you basically make the reservation and then the trip is all laid out. You don't have to do anything but pack and show up.
Yeah.
Also, those who can afford it, they're not cheap. You know, you can look for deals, but it's not for people looking for the cheapest cruise.
Yeah, these are not bargains. Number three, those people that do not want to make a lot of decisions. Every day on a Viking river cruise, you can pick from the tours they're going to offer, or you can do your own thing, but there just aren't a lot of decisions to be made each day.
Yeah, so it makes it a nice, relaxing, simple vacation. Also, it's for people that really enjoy the cultural experiences, such as sampling the local food, the wine, appreciating art, looking at the history of the area. It's really a calm cultural
Immersion.
And
And last but not least, those folks who enjoy smaller and quieter settings than a large ocean cruise liner would provide.
Right, and who is it not for? People that want to gamble, right? Things you find on the bigger cruise ships. Most of these ships don't have gyms, right? So if you're looking for that, we love the gym, but when we go on one of these cruises, we know that it's not there and it's not available. Some of them, I think, have a small gym, but neither of the ones we went on had any kind of gym at all.
No, not at all. Next, those that want to have different choices in restaurants and entertainment each day.
Yeah, basically you're on the ship, you mostly eat on the ship, and if you're looking for a lot of variety, it's not there. The food is great, we'll get into some of that later. These are really not for younger people. Most of the people on the ships we've been on were over 65. I was one of the younger people each time we went.
Yeah, they are a fun crowd and they're all having a good time, but nonetheless, it's just not for younger folks.
In fact, they don't allow children under the age of 18. So the next tip that we have, some people may not agree with this. They do offer free airfare from time to time with your deal, but we suggest that you don't take their air and you plan your own. And the reason why is because the times when we took their airfare, the trips are like these low budget trips. Your connections might not be the best, and you're just not in control of your own trip that way. So we actually prefer to try to use miles or something and get a trip that we really want. Try to get a direct trip to the city that we're flying from. If we can, upgrade to business class just because we're spoiled and we like business class is much better when you're flying overnight.
More comfort.
So just keep in mind, right? If you don't mind, it's fine. You can take their airfare, but if you want more comfort and more control, it can be much better to do your own, and also to get there maybe a day in advance, right? You have jet lag. If you're doing a European Viking trip, you're coming from the United States, you always have a day and a half or two of jet lag, and if you can get there the day before the boat sails, then
you can get ahead of the jet lag. The next tip is, how do I pack for a trip like this? Well, you really want to pack for different types of activities and weather depending on the month you cruise. For example, in Northern Europe, the weather can be a bit chillier in April, early May timeframe. It can be warmer in the summertime. But basically, you want to bring along wrinkle-free clothing, dresses, blouses for the evenings for the ladies, comfortable pants and backpacks, comfortable walking shoes, etc. Typically, Viking provides umbrellas on the way off the ship if rain is expected, so they're planning ahead for you as well.
Next tip for making your Viking cruise successful is to make friends. We tend to keep to ourselves, believe it or not. But the best time that we had on a Viking cruise was when we took my parents, and they made some friends on the ship who were a lot of fun. They were people that you know, we would eat dinner with, and we could see around, and we all had a really great time. It's really, you know, the ships are smaller. You're cruising with other people that want the experience that you want. Some people, it's like a once-in-a-lifetime thing. Everybody's trying to have a good time. It was really nice to meet some people, and it made it more fun.
It did indeed. It added to the entire experience. Our next tip is consider eating off of the ship sometimes. Obviously, Viking is going to provide breakfast, lunch, and dinner, but frequently they stay overnight, sometimes 2 nights in a port city, and you may never be in that city again, so you should consider having at least one meal, if not more than one.
Yeah, we really enjoyed just walking off the ship in the evening. Sometimes, you know, being in the room, in the dining room every single evening gets monotonous for us, so a couple of times we just walked right off of the ship into the town, like in Rouen when we were there in France. We had one of the best mussels and french fries meals we've ever had.
Yeah, it was fantastic. We still talk about it.
It was wonderful. We couldn't get my parents to come with us off of the ship. My dad didn't want to spend any money. but it was, it's worth it, right, to just walk around on your own and really kind of more immerse yourself in the local culture. So the next tip is kind of along the same lines as the last one, which is consider making your way on your own versus doing one of the tours. Now the tours are included, so if you like doing the tours and everything, that's great. But if you're a little more independent and want to do your own thing and don't want to be stuck on a tour, it's nice to just get off of the ship and do your own touring around.
Especially in some of the smaller places that Viking River cruises go to. For example, in Leandre, we didn't take the tour. We decided to walk up to the castle ruins ourselves, and we had a great time.
Our next tip is to try to get a cabin that's not in the very bottom of the ship. Get the middle level or the one above. We always chose the middle one because we didn't want the noise of stuff going on above. But it's nice that you can sit on your balcony. The different ships have different types. Some have a balcony you can sit on. Others, you know, you can see the waterway from your room. But if you're down below, you can't see any of that. So if you're someone who likes to read and sit on your balcony, we highly recommend getting the cabins that are above the water level.
Besides, sitting on your balcony watching some of the beautiful shoreline go by is a great pastime.
It is for us.
Our next tip is about water levels on the rivers.
The water levels can affect your trip.
You need to be aware that if you cruise in the summertime, low water may occur.
Or floods. There's been times when they've had floods that have affected it. I think the key to this one is that you might not be able to pass under a bridge because the water is too high, or the water could get too low, making the river not navigable.
Viking, being one of the larger river cruise companies, is going to accommodate that issue by having buses take you around the low water level, or they'll come up with some other solution.
We took a trip one spring and it was quite rainy and the rivers were up and they weren't able to open the sun deck because we couldn't fit under the bridges. And that was a real bummer because we really enjoyed sitting on the deck and having a drink and watching the world go by. So just know that these things do happen. Viking doesn't have a lot of control over it. We haven't really been involved with anything other than closing the sun deck, but we understand that they do try to accommodate people when it happens. The next one is about the food. The food that we've had on the ships has been very good.
Top notch.
The first ship that we went on, we liked the food much better than the second time we went, and I think it was due to the chef. The chef's style was more in line with what we like on the first trip than the second trip. But the food was good. The breakfasts, I thought, were really great. The omelets made to order and things like that. So there was never a lack of decent food. I found the food was better than on most ocean-going cruise ships that we've been on.
Everything is top-notch, but like a good restaurant, it's all based upon how good the chef is.
And then sometimes they offer some cultural experiences. We did a cruise to Normandy, and they brought oysters on the ship and allowed us to taste different oysters from different locations in the area. It was really good. It was a really fun activity to do. I did it with my parents, and we had a great time.
Okay, the next tip is actually a bonus. We found the cabins to be very, very comfortable. The beds were very good. The extremely comfortable. And-
We're picky about beds.
Yeah,
We've
we
had
are.
some bad experiences in places, and we're super picky. And it's funny because when you first sit on them, you think, I don't know, because they feel a little hard because they're mostly foam mattresses over there, but super comfortable. We wanted to bring one home with us. Our next tip is about knowing how to contact the ship. So when you leave the ship, you know, in case anything happens while you're off the ship, it's a great idea to know how to contact them, how to make phone calls in the country that you're in, and how to contact the ship. Now they usually have little cards you can pick up that tell you it. Just make sure that you pick one up or talk to someone before you leave the ship so that you know how to do that. It's a kind of a safety feature just in case. That's all we have for you today. We, in summary, really enjoyed the time that we had. Would we do them all of the time? No. We did 2 cruises, both with my parents. They were getting older, and it was a great way for them to see some parts of Europe they hadn't seen.
Yeah, it's great if you're just going to do a quick pass through a country. For example, like Celeste said, we took her parents. They gave them a brief amount of time to see Paris and Normandy and areas along the Seine, and then the next year on the River Rhone that they would have never seen otherwise.
Yeah, and it was right up their alley, right? They could get a drink and relax. They were comfortable. They didn't feel
Rushed or
nervous. They enjoyed watching the river go by and the little villages and towns that we went to. So, you know, for that kind of thing, it was great. We do like to travel on our own a lot, and so we don't always like to do these kinds of things that are more structured and organized. But overall, we had a great time, and we would definitely do another one if there was an opportunity.
Yep.
Thanks a lot. Check out our website if you get a chance.
Stay tuned. Same bad channel, same bad time.